Okay, IMAX ticket, popcorn tin, cup, plushie Deadpool, statue Deadpool, Deadpool and Wolverine going to see a movie. I think we're good. Alright, what is going on, guys? It's Tazz here, and welcome back to the channel. With the release of Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters, that officially means that the Fox X-Men universe has kind of merged into the MCU proper. This past Thursday night, I was lucky enough to be amongst the first to see this addition to the vast Marvel multiverse on preview night when I saw Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters. Not only was it an amazing experience to see these two characters return to the big screen in IMAX, but the energy in the theater was unlike anything I had experienced in quite a while there. Everybody kind of just packed into the theater. You could tell from the moment you got in there, everybody was there to see Deadpool and Wolverine. The concession line was, packed. It was filled up. Everybody kind of funneled into the theater, filling up all the seats. It's so amazing that you can have those reserve seats nowadays, because it would have been an absolute mess without them. So it was just crazy to see kind of the hype and the energy and the feeling around this movie that, again, has not been there in quite a while, especially with Marvel movies. And I was lucky enough to have a theater that was very much so alive. Everybody cheered and clapped for all of those cameos. People were laughing at pretty much all of the jokes and, reacting to things. And it was just great to kind of be a part of and great to experience. Half the battle of going to the movie is the actual experience of sitting there in the theater and experiencing it with other fans that are there for the same reason that you are. And Deadpool and Wolverine captured that same feeling that I got so many years ago when I went to go see movies like Avengers Endgame, or, maybe even the first Deadpool in theaters, things like that. So, it was a great experience, but enough of the atmosphere. As Deadpool and Wolverine say multiple times throughout the movie, let's freaking go. Let's freaking go right into this review, except that they didn't say freaking, did they? Jumping right through the multiverse into my spoiler-free thoughts on the movie, right off the rip, visually this movie looks amazing. The color palette was very vibrant. You could tell the cinematography was on point as well. The director, Sean Levy, his vision really got to shine through. Something that a lot of recent Marvel movies have severely been lacking has been that vision. The, director's vision not really shining through visually. It looking kind of bland and dull, and literally from the opening scene, which was absolutely amazing, by the way, and I still have that song stuck in my head. NSYNC, get out of my head. But it looked visually amazing, and it was the perfect hook for this movie. And like I said, the cinematography and fight choreography all throughout was on point. And again, you could really see that a lot of care was taken from a filmmaking perspective here in Deadpool and Wolverine. The third installment to the Deadpool trilogy continues what the previous two installments did, and that was continue to push the envelope on the fourth wall breaking, on the meta references, on the self-awareness, and I think it was at its peak in Deadpool and Wolverine. There were so many great references that, again, I'm not going to spoil anything here. You just have to go and see the movie for yourself and actually experience these jokes and references for yourself. But, they are all amazing. And, I think that they did a great job with, again, the fourth wall breaking writing on this one as well. Ryan Reynolds is back and better than ever in this movie, and we finally, after all these years, get to see him properly team up with Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. That was, of course, the big selling point. The first thing to come out around this movie was the reveal of both Deadpool's updated suit, as well as the fully comic-accurate yellow and blue Wolverine suit. It was just amazing to see both of these on screen at the same time. time in a live action movie, and to again be played by these two iconic actors who have again wanted to work together in a film like this forever. We kind of thought it was a pipe dream, that it would never actually come to fruition on screen. And it's just a testament to, the fans' input and, showing how much we love these movies and these projects and how much we care about, the comics and everything like that. It really showed, with how this movie was made, and it was legitimately made for the fans and the people who love those big deep cut references and the comics and just seeing those comics come to life on screen. It was also such a breath of fresh air to see Jackman and Reynolds playing off of each other, kind of going through this little buddy cop style movie and, arguing with each other and cracking jokes and just, going at each other like Deadpool and Wolverine would in the comics. And I couldn't think of two better actors to portray these characters. Ryan Reynolds has really made Deadpool his own, and I could not see anybody else play that role. Hugh Jackman has been Wolverine for pretty much as long as I've been alive, which is insane to think about. He's been playing Wolverine for over 20 years, coming up on like 25 years at this point, which is insane to, have ownership over a character for so long. He's so iconic in that role. And again, to see him return in that comic accurate suit was just amazing and something that we've wanted to see forever on screen. And yes, similar to Wolverine, somehow my sleeves did get inexplicably ripped off at one point. I don't know where they went. Don't worry about that. Speaking very vaguely on the plot, because again, this is a spoiler-free review, while most MCU movies, it definitely helps to kind of have a background, kind of know where things are coming from, why certain things are happening, kind of be caught up on the current goings-on within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But here with Deadpool and Wolverine, while it does seem like such a big kind of multiversal adventure, you don't really need to have a massive background. As long as you kind of have an idea of who Deadpool is, who Wolverine is, and the fact that the multiverse exists within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you're gonna be fine. Yes, it helps to have seen Loki. Yes, it helps to have seen all the X-Men movies to kind of understand these references. Yes, it helps to have seen, classic Marvel movies and everything like that. For one reason or another, not going to, again, give away too much in that regard. But yes, having that background does help, but somebody can completely go into this movie blind just because they are a comic book fan or a Marvel fan or, a Deadpool fan, or they just want to see Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman have fun for 2 hours on screen. And honestly, the more that I think about it, the movie was much smaller scale than I originally thought going into it, and that's not a bad thing whatsoever. It does have ties to obviously the larger multiverse and kind of, time travel and dimensional travel and all that nonsense, but it still does remain as a self-contained adventure similar to the previous two Deadpool movies. Yes, again, it helps to have seen things, it helps to kind of know about the broader universe, but once again, it is a small story about Deadpool and his surrounding characters. It's about Deadpool's family. It is, about all of these interpersonal relationships and everything like that, and all of these smaller connections, and it's not, the next Avengers movie or the next X-Men movie or anything like that. It truly is Deadpool 3, and I'm glad that it was still able to kind of, again, retain that self-contained nature of the first two films. One of the biggest things that you can come to expect from a Deadpool movie is, of course, the jokes, and I feel like for the most part, like 90% of them landed. All of the fourth wall breaking meta commentary, Disney, Marvel, Fox shots were absolutely hilarious. I'm so glad Marvel was not afraid to kind of take jabs at themselves and kind of acknowledge the fact that the MCU hasn't quite been up to the standard of previous movies as of late and everything like that, and I'm so glad that they were able to kind of, bring that corporate shield down and really just kind of have fun and play around with those ideas here. Something else that you can expect from a movie like this is, of course, the cameos. And now, again, spoiler-free review, no spoilers here, not going to say anything. I'm sure if you've seen some of the trailers or if you were paying attention to the leaks beforehand, you can kind of piece together who may or may not be in this film. If you've been keeping up with what's going on at Comic-Con, they even brought some of those actors on stage as well, which is kind of crazy. Like, most people haven't seen the movie yet they're, up and about in Comic-Con, but I'm glad that those actors were able to celebrate and enjoy this movie as well. But if you don't want to be spoiled, you kind of have to stay completely off of the internet and just avoid everything at all costs. But if you're able to go into this movie blind, if you haven't seen it yet, these cameos are truly, truly, truly special. I really, really enjoyed them. A lot of them were expected, but also a lot of them just came out of complete nowhere and shocked me to my core when I was watching it in the theater. And like I said, the audience reaction was amazing. It was so good to see these on screen. They weren't overplayed. They didn't overstay their welcome. It was not gratuitous or anything like that. I think Deadpool and Wolverine is a cameo-filled movie done right. Speaking on that just a little bit further, I do think some of the trailers did maybe give away a little too much. Yes, you do have to give the audience a good tease and a good feel for how the movie's going to be, and the trailers most certainly did not misrepresent kind of what the movie was. But again, maybe keep a couple of things out of the trailers so that we can be surprised next time. I know so far I've been super, super positive about this film, and that's because I absolutely loved it. I'm not one to give really numbered scores, but it's definitely up there if I were to give it one. However, my biggest criticism of the movie is the fact that the villain of Cassandra Nova was kind of boring, kind of bland. It didn't really do too much for me. I thought the idea of her powers were very cool. I think, the idea of being, related to Charles Xavier is very cool as well. But I just didn't get enough out of this character. I didn't, connect with this character very much. A lot of people will say that, a movie is only as good as its villain. And yes, the villain was not very good in this one, but I don't think it was about the villain whatsoever. The villain was just kind of here to have a reason for, Deadpool and Wolverine to work together to continue to team up and something to defeat. However, I just didn't really feel like Cassandra Nova stood out to me, and I feel like her evil plot just kind of, devolved by the end of the movie. And again, that's something that you can kind of expect with these, and she was not, the main focus of the movie by any means. But just don't go into this movie expecting a super crazy complex villain. It's not about the villain whatsoever. It's about the team up of Deadpool and Wolverine and their interactions and what that means for the greater Marvel universe. I do think, however, Deadpool and Wolverine was the spark needed to really kind of ignite and push the Marvel Cinematic Universe back in the right direction here. I think the care and attention to detail and the freedom of direction and writing that was shown in this movie is something that should really be looked at very closely and taken forward into future Marvel projects. I really hope to see more movies like this, more movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that pay homage to the comics, that respect the fans, that, respect what has come before as far as, the popular movies or, the fan favorite movies, that type of thing. I really hope that we continue to go in this same direction going forward. It's very rare to see, but I do think Deadpool and Wolverine is the best of the trilogy. The film really knew what it wanted to be and owned up to all of the comic book craziness. It honored tons of, past Marvel and MCU projects that really paved the way for the MCU that we know and love today. And it really, really was kind of a love letter to the past of Marvel. And I absolutely loved seeing that on screen. It was very nostalgic in a way as well. So, that was great. And there really is just so much to love in this film. It's a fun time. It is the perfect summer movie. It's a great night out to just go see Deadpool and Wolverine in theaters. This is one of those that you really do want to experience in the theater, so if you haven't seen it yet, you've got to go and see this movie. Overall, guys, this movie is huge, and Marvel is so back. It was amazing fun, it was exhilarating, it was hilarious, it had a great story, it had some really good, deep character moments as well. Speaking of characters, the MVP of the film was, of course, Dogpool. She is cute, I don't care what anybody says, she is a very cute dog, and Dogpool was the greatest character that was put in this film, and I hope we see a lot more of her in the future. Once again, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman as Deadpool and Wolverine, just absolute perfection. And if you've seen any of the promotion for this movie or their Comic-Con interviews or anything like that, just seeing the two of them interact on screen and then seeing what that friendship looks like off screen is just amazing. It's literally just two buddies who made a superhero movie, and who wouldn't want to make a crazy action-packed superhero film with their best friend, who just so happens to have played this iconic character for over 20 years. It's insane that, all of the pieces kind of fell into the right place. I've loved the promotion for the movie. I've loved seeing the two of them talk about it. And, you could really see all of the hard work and dedication that went into making this project, and it all really translated on screen. So again, so much care, so much love was put into this film, and it really, really shows. As of now, the box office performance puts this movie on track to become one of, if not the most successful R-rated films of all time. So again, keep contributing to it. Go use your TVA transponder and go just transport yourself to the theater. Go see it for the first time. Go see it for the 5th time. Just go out and see this movie. Tell all your friends. Deadpool and Wolverine is absolutely amazing. So with that said, guys, I want to know all of your thoughts on Deadpool and Wolverine. If you've seen it, how was your theater experience? What characters stood out to you? And what do you think this film means for the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the X-Men within it? So just let me know your thoughts on all of this down there in the comments below. But until next time, guys, it's been Tazz. And I will see you guys in the next video.